In the city, we gon' slide, bet I be there pronto.
Man, breaking news. I think it's still early enough for us to say breaking news. Kyrie Irving suspended 5 games by the Brooklyn Nets. We're gonna start this out with the vibe check. I know how we do. We checking the vibe. He been under a lot of scrutiny due to him sharing a documentary, a Black Hebrew Israelite documentary, that purports that Black people are the Jews that the Bible speaks of, the Hebrews, the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. So first, I want to get y'all when the news dropped that Kyrie was suspended. You know what I mean? Initial reaction. What was the vibe?
I was shocked. I was shocked. I thought that this was going to be an ongoing kind of disagreement. Last I heard, Adam Silver, who was the NBA commissioner, wanted to sit down and talk to Kyrie. He was upset and disappointed with his lack of an apology. But I thought this was going to maintain itself as an off the court kind of battle of perspective and of words and of due diligence. And so I didn't ever think it would become that punitive to the point where it's like not just one game, it's 5 games. Like Kyrie just the other day, $500,000 along with I think the Nets organization or something like that to learning and processing anti-Semitism. So I felt like that was material enough. But here we go with these suspensions. So I was kind of surprised that they swung that hard on it a little bit. I ain't gonna hold you.
Swing hard, Lee.
Yeah. I was surprised as well. Just given like in terms of basketball, like late call, we playing street ball, and it's just like, hey, there's been a lot of plays like you calling in the play. Like that's how I kind of seen it as well, and really just made it where just like the leadership, immediately, for instance, of the NBA, Adam Silver, and the people that was able, like his board and office that was able to make this call, to me, it just seemed like very sloppy. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like kind of like not saying there's a time that you can't talk about anti-Semitism or you can't call out things about anti-Semitism, but it's like there should have been a call from the jump.
To Lee's point, this whole notion of a late call. I think, a lot of conversation in the backdrop of Kanye and with Kyrie is they just proving this point. Mm-hmm. There they go, proving this point. They proving this point. And so I think an interesting component of this in the idea of late call or from that perspective is y'all let him play. Y'all let him do interviews. Y'all let him spout more of his insistence. And then all of a sudden it's like y'all have these backroom conversations. Who y'all been talking to? Who y'all been discussing stuff with? And this is not to feed into this whole secret society, secret group of power. But it alludes to the idea that there's something behind you pushing you and provoking you to make certain decisions when it seemed like he was making a decision another way. And so I can understand people's skepticism, like, why now? You know what I'm saying? That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that it was what I got from it. My first response was that, so he wasn't sorry enough for y'all. He was sorry enough to break the bread. He was sorry enough to delete it.
He didn't say I'm sorry though. He never said
but that's
he refuses to say I'm sorry. That's he stopped shot just for that line. But yeah.
And that's gonna be another quick check on that. But to me, it was just like in terms of how he responded, it wasn't enough for what they felt comfortable with. Now, to be honest though, when I first heard my real first thought was, if y'all willing to suspend this man over these type of tweets, then every Trump supporter in the NBA should be suspended. Every Trump supporter in the NBA should be suspended.
That's about
really. It has to be some type of scrutiny over, if we looking at personal politics that heavily and the impact of personal politics to determine whether or not you're gonna continue to play the game. Yeah, that means any far right attachments, far right association deserves to be under that much scrutiny. Go ahead, Toya.
Yeah, I think I don't disagree, and I think what's interesting is that how Kyrie has treated it has been, I think, very careful and cautious to defend himself, to defend kind of his right to be on a quest for knowledge and to learn and to seek more about whatever and to have that be a dynamic process. In one breath, I had somebody kind of coming at his neck because he is like an indigenous Muslim, potentially anti-Semitic, black, proud black. You said what?
Hebrew Israelite.
Hebrew Israelite that is an anti-vaxxer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of these weird kind of consistent yet inconsistent politics that people are really trying to figure out. But his kind of his kind of the ground he stands on is that he deserves the right to go out and seek knowledge that's denied to him. He even goes as far as to say, you know, one thing I've learned is, you know what I'm saying, I used to always wonder about this quote, the best thing you can do is hide. If you want to hide knowledge from a nigga, put it in a book.
Put it in the book. Yeah.
Knowledge from a black person, put it in a book. So now I just think people are upset because I'm finally getting into the books and getting to the knowledge that has been denied to me because of the way this racialized society has existed. And y'all just mad because I know who I am. And so there's a lot to unpack there, because you can't be mad at that. And that's factually true. As we have these conversations about critical race theory, feel how you want to feel, but niggas have been lied to. But the other side of that, and I think the danger of it, is when you take the approach, the strategy, and the play-by-play, like bar for bar, wordplay of conservative, problematic ass white people that you say you learning more about and getting up on, you sound just like them, so it's hard to believe. You know,
in this instance, I seen from Twitter people talking about what the actual documentary that Kyrie shared, and it has, like, you know, things about Jewish people being demons and being, controlling everything, and being the people behind all the success in America. You know what I'm saying? Different things like that. So, you know, I feel like it's some. I feel like there's some simple statements to be made. I think that, you know what I'm saying, in terms of like what Jewish people do and what Jewish people don't do. Because it's like, are Jewish people trying to take reproductive rights? No. Jewish people, you know what I'm saying, like trying to push their religion on us? No. Jewish people,
but I do
a lot of things we can just, like, simple things we can displace. But also going back to the Kyrie thing is like, at the beginning, and I know we're not a sports podcast, so I'll be light when I say this. Now we can move on. But it does seem a bit weird recognizing that the NBA is able to catch, find what's his name that played for the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, you know, this season for being homophobic and for saying homophobic stuff, like explicitly being homophobic. It was like $50,000 fine, no game suspended, and then seeing, he shared a documentary, and it's like what this documentary is going. So I think that, you know, I feel like when it comes to recognizing, I guess, an inconsistency in being oppressive or using one's platform to send hate, you see there's kind of an inconsistency in how heavy the hand comes down.
And what frustrates me about the whole thing is that far right conservatism is just as I ain't even gonna say just as, because how I view, like, when I don't think black people, when they look at what, you know, the people in the Bible and interpret scripture, I don't think when they call themselves the people of the Bible, I don't think that's anti-Semitic. Like that, does it push back against a particular narrative? Of course. Like, and is that narrative very prominent and a powerful narrative? It is. But attaching yourself to the scripture and then you know, interpreting the scripture in a way that actually puts the so-called black man or black woman in that position, then like that okay, now we have some conflict in how we interpret the scripture, but whether or not that equates to hate speech and anti-Semitism is completely different. Especially when I'll just say this, especially when far right conservatism is like the basis for a lot of these, for a lot of the anti-Semitic arguments and anti-Semitic positions on who controls what in the world and all of those things. That stems from far right conservatism. Donald Trump has a lot of attachments to people who have that understanding of the world and that understanding of those people. So it's like, I think it's unfair that somebody like Kyrie or even like LeBron in past instances was painted with that anti-Semitic light, when the understanding and the disagreement in who's what doesn't stem from the same place to where anti-Semitism stem from. Go ahead, Toya.
I mean, I think a huge part of their issue is not necessarily their enlightened interpretation of truth and what it is. It is that, you know, and us as arguers, us as debaters understand this. You don't have an argument problem. You have a packaging problem, and you have a nuance problem. You have a framing issue. And so when you, for example, use your path to enlightenment to then not do research on what you're kind of putting up and propagating and you getting called out and criticized about it. It's like you found some knowledge, you found something probably reasonable to listen to think about, but you used a tool of anti-Semitism to get there, which undermines your credibility. For example, when you say we were the original Hebrews, that is a different. I think that statement strikes a different chord to people than Black people are Jewish as well, right? We'll get there. We can hash out maybe what the history and the sequencing of but that is a little bit too abrasive and aggressive for some people because it sounds a whole lot like different schools of thought that undermine the right and the claim to Israeli heritage that a lot of Jews have had the confrontation with, right? So we don't want to do that, but we still want to be able to impart knowledge. And I think it's a fine line you have to walk in order to really be the free thinking, above the board thinking, challenging the way that the status quo or presumption is this type of person that you want to be. You will never get there echoing the same sentiments in the same ways or using the same tools and apparatuses as people who have a clear disdain for Jewish people. It's not gonna work for you like that.
Right. I mean, because we do end up falling into the pitfall, into the trap of utilizing the language and the rhetoric of people who don't have our best interest at heart to make the points that we want to make. You know what I mean? And so you do have
that's the nuance. I don't think it's about Black people saying they're Jewish. I don't think it's about Black people using scriptures to be able to be able to link themselves to the Jewish diaspora. I think it's that what Toya's talking about, like once you start making mutually exclusive statements that say you the ish, I'm the it, I am the real, you are the fake, and then it starts to buy into all of the literal Hitler-esque Nazi, manufactured conspiracies that's been able to use to either A, have folks run into synagogues, B, have people, do X, Y, and Z. And I can tell whatever, I said some things that pissed the algorithm off a little bit because, I seen that. But let me,
Yeah. So on that one, I think that's a great point. Y'all make great points. This is a vibe check, so we want to keep it quick.